Hey, it's Dr. Jen here. Today I wanted to tell you about a coping mechanism that I use to deal with fear in benzo withdrawal. It was very powerful and very helpful and healing. Before I tell you about the actual things that I did, I want to refresh your memory about the 4 cornerstones of well-being. If you're in my support group, Mornings with Jen, or if you've read my blogs or watched some other videos, perhaps you've heard me talk about them. Every human being on the planet has these 4 cornerstones available. This isn't just for the benzo community. And these 4 cornerstones are what our health rests on. This is what actually grows and nurtures and creates health and well-being. 4 things: eat right, which is a whole food, plant-based diet; move enough, so we want to get enough exercise, but not too much; stress less; and the 4th cornerstone is love well. And that love well doesn't mean that you actually feel a lot of love, which would be great. That's a good thing. But it's actually about being love in the world. It's a way of perceiving the world, of moving through the world. It's kindness, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, generosity, curiosity, gratitude, service to others, awe and wonder, all of those yummy kind of spiritual things. They actually help. Some of them grow a region right here in, called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And when that has a lot of connectivity to it, we're in much better shape for lots of reasons. So those are the 4 cornerstones. So this exercise that I used to do, I kind of call it a ritual. In fact, tomorrow we're going to be discussing rituals and how they're helpful and healing in my Mornings with Jen support group. I'm really curious and excited to hear what people have to say about the rituals that they do. But this was my ritual, and it's called a tea party. And so I would pour myself a cup of tea, and I would put another cup right next to me at the table, and I would pour a cup of tea, and I would pull the chair up, and I would invite my fears to come and talk to me. I would invite them to the tea party. All the real trick to this and the healing part of this is to invite them in the exact same way that you would invite an honored guest. Think of somebody in your life that you would just be so honored and so excited to have over at your house that you could sit and talk to them. Maybe it's a celebrity, a politician, a religious leader, a relative, an author, an artist, you name it. So to think about how you would feel to have that person in your house, you'd really want to make sure you had nice tea and, everything was just, they were very comfortable. We want to take that much care and detail and that orientation towards, taking care of our guests to this tea party. But this guest, it's our fears. So what we do is we pour the glass for ourselves and for our fears, and then we just say, "Hi, honored guest, tell me everything you'd like me to know." And of course, you're not going to hear anything, but what you are going to hear is your own truth bubble up. And hopefully those fears will come up and you can look at them. And I used to always have a piece of paper and I would write them down. So here's where you have to really kind of roll up your sleeves and do the work, the emotional work, so to speak. We can't argue with those fears. We can't try to rationalize them away. We can't tell our fears, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that way," or, there's no reason for that, or that's really not what's happening. We're not in a court of law. We don't want to debate them. We don't want to argue with them. We don't want to fight them. Because when we fight, and we don't want to run away from them either, ignore them. Because when we fight them or run away from them, we're activating more of a response in our autonomic nervous system called the protect state, fight or flight. Or if we just get so overwhelmed that, we become immobilized by them, that is the freeze state. So that's the protect state, fight, flight, or freeze. Fight or flight is a sympathetic response, and the freeze is a parasympathetic dorsal vagal response. But all 3 of those, fight, flight, or freeze, are survival mechanisms. It's our autonomic nervous system responding to some type of threat, usually most likely a perceived threat because there's not that many real threats in the world. But Suffice it to say, we go into this protect state. So the trick, or one of the tricks of doing the tea party, is to just observe the thoughts and feelings that bubble up. You might want to argue with your fears. You might want to get into a debate. Don't go there. Just write them all down. Metaphorically, pat them on the head, say they're there. So the real power to all of this is when we can, what I call fourth cornerstone them. When we can love our fears, have compassion for our fears, be kind to our fears, mother or father our fears. Because I love what Jeff Foster says. He's a young philosopher. He's just amazing. He says, those things don't come to us to be healed. They come to us to be held. And it's in the holding that the healing takes place. It's in the loving of them that the healing takes place. So the more that we can listen to those fears, let them bubble up, and just be compassionate with them, understand where they're coming from. They're coming from a very hyperexcited nervous system that doesn't have the capacity to calm down. So our thoughts and our intrusive thoughts and all that, really uncomfortable and frightening, scary thoughts that we have, that's all coming from our nervous system, because state drives story. The state of our nervous system fuels and flavors our thoughts and feelings. So we do well to remember that, to know that when those fears are bubbling up and those scary thoughts and intrusive thoughts and, just the catastrophic thoughts, what we're experiencing is our nervous system. Very much like if you ate a bowl of beans and, you digested the beans and then you had gas and you passed the gas. Well, that fart that's your nervous system. That's your digestive system at work. So when you pass gas and, it might be stinky, that's what you're experiencing. You're experiencing your digestive system. That's all. It's just a stinky fart. The same thing with our nervous system. What we are experiencing is just stinking thinking. It's our nervous system, and it's no more significant than our digestive system. Your intrusive thoughts and fears and worries and all those deep, dark, horrible, catastrophic doom and gloom, terrifying feelings are no more significant than your fart. I know they feel very much different than that. They feel overwhelming, like they're real and it's based on reality, but what you're experiencing is your nervous system. Of course, unless you really are, in some sort of a threat, but most of us are not. They're perceived threats. So the more that we can just love on our thoughts and our feelings that are so disturbing and hear them out, they're there, they're there. It's okay, I've got this, or God and I, we've got this. The better off we'll be, as opposed to trying to fight them, run away from them, or, allowing them to overwhelm us to where we just freeze. One thing that helped me was to remember that the threat detection circuitry part of it is the limbic system. And there are two little almond-shaped regions nestled really deep in the brain. You have a right one and a left one. And the right one in particular really packs a wallop for all of this. And amygdala is spelled Amygdala, A-M-Y, Amy. So when my intrusive thoughts just would really get loud, and I was the poster girl, I think, for intrusive thoughts and benzo withdrawal, I would just do my best to get centered and just say, okay, Amy, thank you for trying to protect me. Because at the end of the day, that's what fear is. It's a protection mechanism. So your thoughts in some weird, strange way are trying to protect you. So I would just say, thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. You're doing the job. Good work. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I've got this. Or often I'd say, God and I, we've got this, but I appreciate you. So I found that not fighting my fears and not arguing with my nervous system, not running away from it, debating it, any of that was so helpful. It was just leaning into it, accepting it, and just really having a lot of compassion for what my nervous system was going through in withdrawal. It was so hyperexcited. And that was why I had all the thoughts and feelings that I had, all the fears. So I could treat them with kindness and love and compassion. And when I would do that, the volume of my suffering turned down. So I hope that you will utilize a tea party or some sort of similar expression or experience or ritual, call it whatever you'd like, in order for you to turn down the volume of your suffering. The key things to keep in mind are your thoughts and feelings, all the doom and gloom and scary and negative, maybe violent, perverted, whatever. I mean, we just come up with some really uncomfortable stuff. It's just, you're just experiencing your nervous system. You're not a bad person, you're not a terrible person, you're not a broken person. You just have a hyperexcited nervous system. And it's no more significant in your life than having, experiencing your digestive tract or your digestive system. So at the end of the day, we get to be responsible for how we respond to all of this. And I really, with everything in me, with my whole heart, I hope that you will learn to respond with kindness and love and compassion, maybe even some curiosity, and to know that this is just your nervous system, and your nervous system will, on its own, settle down. We can stack the cards in our favor for healing more quickly and also to have a more whole and robust lifelong healing if we will embrace and live the 4 cornerstones every day. Eat right, whole food, plant-based diet for lots of reasons. Get enough exercise, not too much. Reduce our stress less. That's why I teach polyvagal theory and I teach about our autonomic nervous system so people have more tools to be able to work with the internal stress, but certainly, reduce external stress, and then love well. And again, that's not feeling love, although that's wonderful, but it's being love, kindness, caring, generosity, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, patience, service to others, those types of things. All of those 4 things together, if you really embrace them and live them in a mindful way, that you really set your day every day saying, I'm going to live these 4 cornerstones, you'll be amazed at what happens in your life. I know I certainly am. They are my everything, and they certainly have transformed me from the very traumatized person that I was to who I am now. And I am whole and healthy, 10 and a half years off my Benzo, 11 years sober from alcohol, and just living my best life. At 63, almost 64, I have this amazing life, and I'm very grateful for that. And I learned it, or got here, by those 4 cornerstones. So if you have a tea party, I hope that you will leave some comments. Let me know how it worked for you. And if you're curious about other tools to help you heal, to help you move forward, and you really want to focus on the solutions and the positive, hope you'll consider joining Mornings with Jen. We meet live on a secret Facebook group Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific for about 45 minutes. Sometimes we go to an hour, and it's a wonderful group of people. We try to keep it really positive. I'm trying very hard for it not to turn into one of those support groups where everybody's sharing fears, and it's very triggering. Yeah, the cost as of right now is $75 a month. It's a subscription, and you get 9+ hours of connecting with me. And if you feel like you need a little more support, I do hope that you will come and join us. And I do hope that you'll have a tea party. All right, my good friends, please take good care of yourselves and be well.